So, you're trying to decide between moving to Melbourne or Palm Bay, Florida. It's the classic Space Coast dilemma. You have two cities right next to each other, but they can feel worlds apart in lifestyle and, more importantly, in cost. You probably heard about the price gap, but what does that really look like in 2026? We're talking about a difference of over $50,000 in median home prices alone. That's a number that could completely change your financial picture and also qualify your life here in Florida. In this video, I'm going to give you the complete 2026 cost of living breakdown for both cities so you can make the right decision for you and your family. We're going to get into the numbers that actually matter, not just housing, but everything from your electric bill to your property taxes as well. My name is Stephen Thomas, and as a local real estate agent here in Brevard County, I've helped countless people work through this exact same decision. This isn't just data for me. It's about helping families find that perfect fit for their budget and their lifestyle. The question I get all the time is, why is one so much cheaper? And what am I giving up for that lower price? By the end of this video, you'll have a crystal clear answer. And because I know moving can be super overwhelming, I've left a link to book a call with yours truly, so that way you can find that perfect home that fits you and your family. Treat yourself, don't cheat yourself. Now let's get into the numbers behind Melbourne versus Palm Bay cost of living. All right, let's address the elephant in the room, housing. This is where you'll find the biggest financial split between Melbourne and Palm Bay, and understanding it is key to your decision. When you look at the data, it consistently shows that Palm Bay is the more affordable choice. When we look at the 2026 housing market, the numbers are pretty clear. The typical home value in Melbourne is hovering around $350,000. In contrast, Palm Bay's typical home value is significantly less, sitting right around $298,000. Now, depending on the source you check, you might see slightly different sales prices, but ultimately, the trend is the same. Let's focus on those typical values. The gap between Melbourne's $350,000 and Palm Bay's $298,000 is just over $50,000. This means for the exact same budget, you are looking at fundamentally different properties. It's also worth noting that both markets have cooled off a bit, with prices in both cities dipping around 4.8% over the past year. This has created a more balanced market for buyers. So what does that mean in practical terms? It means that for every square foot of your home, you are paying significantly less in Palm Bay. This directly translates to either a lower mortgage for the same size house or a much larger house for the same mortgage. Let's make this real. Imagine you have a budget of $350,000, which is right around the median price for Melbourne alone. In Melbourne, for $350,000, you're likely looking at a solid single family home. This could be a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, maybe around 1,600 square feet. It might be in an established neighborhood, built in the 1980s or 90s, possibly with some updates, but maybe need a little TLC. You'll get a great Florida home, but you're definitely paying for the Melbourne address and its quick access to amenities. Now, let's take the same $350,000 budget over to Palm Bay. And here, the story definitely changes. Since the median home price is just under $300,000, a $350,000 budget puts you comfortably above the average. Now for this price, you could expect a little bit more. In Palm Bay, $350,000 could easily get you a 4-bedroom, often exceeding 2,000 square feet. You're more likely to find newer construction, especially ones with modern open floor plans and updated features. Many homes in this price range, especially in Palm Bay, come with larger lots. Quarter-acre or even half-acre lots are common, especially in the southwestern part of the city. You might even find a home with a screened-in pool or even a 3-car garage. So the trade-off is clear. You're swapping proximity to Melbourne's central core for more space and more house for your money. What if you're not ready to buy? The rental market shows the exact same pattern. Let's look at the numbers for 2026. The average rent in Palm Bay is reported to be between $1,400 and $1,500 a month. A 1-bedroom might be in the $1,200 to $1,500 range, while a 3-bedroom could rent out for $1,800 to $2,300 a month. Now compare that to Melbourne. Average rent in Melbourne is higher, with different sources placing it anywhere from $1,599 to nearly $2,000. A 3-bedroom apartment averages closer to $2,036. The difference is obvious. Renting a typical family home in Palm Bay could easily save you several $100s a month compared to a similar property in Melbourne. This makes Palm Bay a magnet for renters who want more space without breaking the budget. So, when it comes to housing, the first question you have to ask yourself is this: is the premium for a Melbourne address worth giving up the extra space and newer features I could get in Palm Bay. If you're wrestling with this question and want to see what your specific budget looks like in both cities, let's talk. You can book a free call with me with the link in the description below to get a personalized breakdown. Treat yourself, don't cheat yourself. Now, once you figured out your mortgage or rent, next up are your monthly bills. We're talking electricity, water, and internet. While these costs don't have the dramatic gap we see in housing, the details are still important for your budget, especially in Florida where AC is a way of life. In both Melbourne and Palm Bay, your electricity provider is Florida Power and Light, or FPL. This means your base rates are identical no matter which city you're in. So of course, your final bill comes down to how much you use. And a larger home in Palm Bay may naturally use more power than a smaller one in Melbourne. For 2026, FPL has a rate plan in place. A typical residential customer using 1,000 kilowatt hours a month, think of a smaller home or apartment, you can expect your monthly bill to be around $137 starting in January. Now, if you have a larger home using closer to 1,200 kilowatts per hour, your bill will likely be in the $168 to $180 range. The key thing to know is that FPL has a 4-year rate plan, so we can anticipate small, steady increases to fund grid improvements and solar projects. Now, the good news is this predictability prevents major bill shock down the road. This is where we see slight differences. Both cities manage their own water and their rate structures vary a bit. In Palm Bay, the base charge for water is about $16.66 per month. You gotta add usage with that as well. And the base for sewer is higher at $31.60 plus usage a month. Now, Melbourne's water rates are comparable, even though its sewer-based charge is a bit lower. So what does that mean for your wallet? Honestly, the difference is usually just a few dollars a month. A typical combined water, sewer, and trash bill for a family in the area lands you between $80 and $100 a month. The real variable here is you, especially if you love a green lawn, as irrigation in dry months can drive up your usage. Internet service is another cost that's pretty much the same in both cities. The main providers are Spectrum and AT&T Fiber. For a solid, high-speed plan, you should budget between $70 and $90 a month. Keep that price in mind after any introductory offers expire. And here's a quick tip. If you absolutely must have fiber optic internet, make sure to verify AT&T Fiber availability for a specific address before you sign anything. The reason being, coverage can be more sporadic in some of Palm Bay's sprawling neighborhoods, so you're going to want to check that before you sign anything. Now, beyond the mortgage and utilities are two huge expenses of Florida home ownership. You have property taxes and homeowners insurance. This is another area where the differences between Melbourne and Palm Bay really show. Now, property taxes can seem complicated, but it's pretty simple. Your tax is based on your home's assessed value and also its millage rate. A mill is $1 of tax for every $1,000 of taxable value. Both cities are in Brevard County, so everyone pays the same county and school board taxes, but each city adds its own millage rate for local services. For the 2025-2026 fiscal year, Palm Bay's proposed city rate is 6.7 mils. Melbourne's is in a similar ballpark. Now, you might think that since the rates are close, the taxes are too. But let me tell you something, that's not the whole story. You're gonna wanna remember the tax is based on your home's value. And homes in Melbourne are valued significantly higher. A higher home value, even with similar tax rates, means a higher tax bill. Period. This difference can easily be hundreds, if not thousands of dollars more per year, especially in Melbourne, simply because the starting home values are significantly higher than Palm Bay. Now, homeowners insurance in Florida is a hot topic. Costs have been rising statewide due to hurricane risks and construction costs. So this isn't a Melbourne versus Palm Bay issue, but this is a Florida issue. However, some factors can make a difference. The age and construction of your home is huge. A brand new home in Palm Bay built to the latest hurricane codes will almost always be cheaper to insure than a 40-year-old home in Melbourne with an older roof. Another key factor is the flood zone. Parts of Melbourne are closer to the Indian River Lagoon. If a home is in a required flood zone, you'll have to pay for separate flood insurance, which can be a major added expense. Palm Bay is generally set back further from the water, so vast areas don't require flood insurance, which can also be a source of real savings for you. So when you go into contract on a house, get an insurance quote immediately. A high premium can be an absolute deal breaker. Navigating insurance quotes and property tax estimates can be tricky, but it's something I help my clients with every single day. If you want to get a clear picture of what these hidden costs will look like for you, especially on a specific given situation, go ahead and book a no obligation call with me through the link in the description below. We can all walk through this together, so that way you're not alone and you know what to expect. So treat yourself, don't cheat yourself. Now, we've established that Palm Bay is the clear winner on paper, specifically for affordability. So why doesn't everyone just move to Palm Bay? The answer is all about lifestyle, community vibe, and daily convenience. This is where Melbourne makes its case for a higher price tag. Now, Melbourne and Palm Bay have totally different personalities. Melbourne has a vibrant, historic downtown with unique restaurants, boutiques, and theaters alike. It's a walkable, charming hub for activities. With areas like the O'Galley Arts District, it has a more cultural, artsy feel. Melbourne is definitely the place to go for a night out. Now, Palm Bay, on the other hand, is a classic Florida suburb. It's huge in terms of land area and is defined by sprawling, quiet residential neighborhoods. Its commercial life runs along the main roads like Malabar and Palm Bay Road, which are aligned with familiar shopping plazas and chain restaurants. It's incredibly convenient for errands, but it doesn't have that central walkable downtown core. The vibe is quieter and more family focused. One of the biggest trade-offs is beach access. Melbourne is just a short drive over the causeway from the sands of Indian Atlantic and Melbourne Beach. Being just 10 to 15 minutes from the ocean is a huge draw, and Melbourne definitely delivers. Palm Bay is further inland, west of I-95 to be specific. From most parts of the city, a trip to the beach is more like a 25 to 35 minute drive. It's not a deal breaker for everyone, but it is the difference between a spontaneous trip and a planned outing. This proximity advantage for Melbourne extends to other amenities too, like the King Center for the Performing Arts, and also more high-end dining, like Urban Prime. Now, for many people on the Space Coast, life revolves around jobs like L3 Harris, Northrop Grumman, or even in Brevard. Melbourne's location is generally more central for these employers, meaning you could have a commute as short as 10 to 15 minutes, and that's a huge quality of life win. Now, living in Palm Bay, especially in the far south or west, will add time to your drive. It could easily be a 30 to 40 minute commute each way. That's why many who choose Palm Bay either work from home or they decided that savings on their home is worth way more than extra time in the car. So, after breaking this all down, what's the bottom line in the Melbourne versus Palm Bay debate? The financial picture is crystal clear. Palm Bay is the most affordable city and is not particularly close. The gap of over $50,000 in home prices is the main story. Now in Palm Bay, your money simply buys you a larger, newer home on a bigger piece of land. This means a lower mortgage and likely a lower property tax to go with it. But Melbourne commands its price premiums for a reason: lifestyle and location. It has a walkable downtown, the easy beach access, more cultural venues, and shorter commutes to major job centers. The choice boils down to a fundamental trade-off: affordability and space versus lifestyle and location. Choose Palm Bay also if you don't mind a longer drive to the beach. You should choose Melbourne if you want to be close to the action. Think restaurants, shopping, and events. Choose Melbourne if you want quick and easy access to the beach. And also choose Melbourne if a commute to work is a major factor for you in your life. Now mind you, both are fantastic places to live, and they also make up the heart of Florida's Space Coast. The right choice is all about what you value most. Now I know this is one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. Trying to figure this all out from a distance is tough. My goal was to give you some clarity, but every person's situation is unique. That's where I can help you. If you're thinking about making a move to either Melbourne or Palm Bay, I invite you to book a free, no obligation call with yours truly with the link in the description below. We can talk through your specific needs, your budget, and what you're looking for. And also I can give you personalized advice based on years of experience right here in the market. So treat yourself, don't cheat yourself. I'm here to be your resource, but I'm also here to make that move to the Space Coast as smooth as possible. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you.